Welcome to the Maitland Conservatory. We are a place where your dreams become your reality. We are a place where your passion intersects with the tools and the technology you need for success. Unlock your creativity with us. This is Maitland. This is your creative future. We dare you to dream, then we dare you to do it.
Support for Mic Check Huntsville comes from Artemis Music Productions. Artemis Music Productions caters to all your musical needs. Whether you're looking for an intimate solo performance or full band experiences, Artemis Music Productions' mission is to connect artists with events, ensuring a memorable atmosphere for every occasion. Elevate your event with music and Artemis Music Productions. More information at artemismusicproductions.com. And support from St. Stephen's Music Hall, where music matters. The purpose, bring the joy of music to Huntsville, Alabama. While there are many music venues in Huntsville, St. Stephen's Music aims to bring in the artists that inspire us all. The band on a small stage, at your favorite music festival, the up-and-coming musicians out there scratching their way and generating beautiful art while on their journey, bluegrass, Americana, folk, reggae, punk, or just some good old rock and roll. St. Stephen's Music brings you the music you have been missing in Huntsville, Alabama. More information at ststevensmusic.com. And support from T. Shepherd's Discount Music, serving Huntsville's music community since 1974. At T. Shepherd's Discount Music, they offer a broad variety of music services. They buy, sell, trade, and consign musical instruments. Come and see for yourself. Facebook.com/T Shepherds. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the listening room at the Maitland Conservatory for a very special event. We're going to call this Mic Check with a few friends, neighbors of the Tennessee Valley to talk about the musical journey, the friendships, the challenges, the obstacles, and all things in between. And I'm joined at a table with some pretty impressive talent, but I wouldn't be able to be here and make this possible without Miss Ingrid Marie. How you doing, Ingrid?
I'm doing great.
Ingrid. So before we introduce our guests, I want just real quick, if you could tell us the thought behind bringing this table and this idea that you brought to us today.
It was, I was watching some YouTubes, as every single day I watch the YouTubes, and I saw a songwriters roundtable. It's national, international successes, some pretty fancy people. And I had just this gut feel that we need this here. And that is the moment I typed to you into Messenger, hey, T-Mill, I want this here now for us. And Tim said, there's nothing to it but to do it. So I thought, and then I answered because I had just seen YouTube.
Yeah.
The only reason we don't start is because the first step's not small enough. And I sent that to you as well. And then we started doing a little Post-it note, check off, and we got it rolling.
And here we are with our guests. I'm going to start with Miss Dani. Introduce yourself, your role, your professional title, and as we all should refer to you by, if you can introduce yourself.
Hi, so hello, my name is Dani Caines, and I am a singer, songwriter, and recording artist here locally in Huntsville, Alabama.
All right. Seated next to Dani, we have
Lisa. I perform under Lisa's Joy, or my sort of Korean name, Nare Jayu, which I can talk about later. And I'm a singer-songwriter as well, and a recording artist, which is kind of fun to say, in the Huntsville, North Alabama area.
Yes, we are going to talk about that name. Please remind us because it is beautiful. So we have Dani Caines and Lisa Joy. All right. So, of course, let's start with those names first. Let's just do that because I'll forget. So, Dani Caines, instead of a last name or instead of a, something else in that, or has the rappers have little this, young that, Dani Caines, where does that come from?
Dani started off as a singer and rebranded it a couple of times. It started off as Infinity because Infinity was something I wanted to do related to music. It's beyond. It goes forever. And then I did a rebrand, started going off by my original name, which is Dani Caines. And I was like, that's okay. But who is Dani Caines? What does she do? Dani does sing. Dani sings. And so it just had more of a passion for me with the name Dani Sings. And that's how I identify myself.
And yes, she does. Yes,
She absolutely does.
Absolutely. So Dani Caines is the Marvel character we can look forward to when you're doing that.
Yes.
So Lisa Joy is, what's the story behind Lisa Joy? Again, you could choose any last name, or that may be the last name, but what's the story behind Lisa Joy?
So it's actually not my last name. I think, as I know my other panelists here are, I'm a mother, and so I really, doing music and pursuing this passion has been sort of my own pursuit, trying to separate myself from being a mother, just trying to find my identity, and so I felt like I wanted to find a name that matched that. And so that name actually emerged from a mistake at the first open mic that I performed at here in North Alabama, which was with Robbie Eichman at the then Salty Nut Brewery. And he saw my name as Lisa Joy, and it just kind of stuck.
Wow.
I thought, okay, that works.
Perfect mistake.
Yeah, it was serendipitous.
So let me ask you, Lisa, what are one of the things, I know there's probably many, but what are one of the things that give you joy when it comes to your professional career and your personal life?
Right. I think it's this one and the same. It's doing things with other people in community, with other musicians, with children, with all of that. I mean, one of my fondest memories just from this past week was making music with my band, making music with other musicians in the area. And lately, my youngest son has been very into percussion. And so sometimes when I'm practicing, he'll just come and start like beating things out or playing along on a keyboard. And it's, just makes me the happiest.
Outstanding. Now, Ingrid, you had some great questions and your perspective in bringing this panel together from your experience as a musician, as a vocalist, touring, being a mom, being a woman, being all these different perspectives that you bring to the table. You raised a lot of questions that we wanted to have today. So I want you to think about some of those questions and putting you on the spot, because we're doing this together. You called me in on this. We're doing this together. So any questions, do you have a question for Dani that when you're thinking about these nuances that people don't tend to think about, or the things that you want people to know about?
100%. Because, and I want to do a backdrop a little bit. We don't all get to see each other like we would like to. Coordinating this, like them being available, finding those times, and not being booked at separate gigs on the same night. We all happened to be at the Orion Theater for the Women's Weekend, and I had really not spent that much time with you. But I knew who you were. I had seen you out and about. I hadn't seen you live. That was my first chance to see you live. And we were backstage, and I distinctly remember your being in the wings and being there with you and wondering, how is this woman transforming herself for this crowd? I saw her walk out to the stage, and I saw what looked like just an explosion of joy and light come off of her. And I felt from the wings, I felt the audience and the crowd like being drawn to the stage. And that was my same feeling being in the wings. And then I remember afterwards seeing children flocking to Dani. And I walked away from that. We never spoke really after that, but it touched me and it moved me to a point because of how different it was to see Dani's transformation from what I know must be carrying a load for family, the world, friends, everything in life, work, getting to that space. And I thought, how does she do that? How does she do that? And does it every single time? And that is your thing, your joy. I think of you and I think explosion of joy, and that is Dani Caines. And you walk out there, Dani sings. Yes, she does sing. And I had to be with her and know who this person is and make her my sister and become friends for life. And that was why I called her up and said, I need to have you on my week. Hopefully this will be an ongoing thing. This is our
Absolutely, it will be.
This is our first
Thanks to our
one.
sponsors. Absolutely, it will be.
Yeah, and that is the actual thing, is that we walk around with so much of life on us, and yet somehow when we get to that place of performance, it's very clear this is the calling for your life. What does Dani do? Who is Dani? Dani sings and opens up doors and gates. Yeah. And I want to forever, forever watch that process. Yeah. Good question.
It's a good thing we're recording this, because when someone asks you who's Dani Caines, you can just press play and just let that play.
I'm
right
available for intros.
Yeah. One thing you said, it touched my heart, and it's the children flocking to me. One thing that I want to do is to bring light to children through music. I've always wanted to do that. I have had a passion for singing since age 3, when my mother encouraged me, my late mother, who was also a singer. And so I started from that child, and that child has now grown, but wants to encourage other children to sing. And for me to see these kids flock to me, I knew that calling was for them.
Yeah.
I knew it. I did a show back in 2019. Tyler Perry's people were there. It was major. I had kids running up to me to ask me for my autograph.
Right.
And I was just like, this is something that I need to do. This is something I want to do. And so that is something that, this is where I want to be in life. I want to bring music to kids.
That's right. Yeah.
Outstanding, outstanding. Well, that's what this conversation is all about today. And if there's things that you think about as musicians, as performers, be sure to interject. Let us know, because not only is this a chance for us to pick your brain and ask questions, but also this is your mic. This is your chance to speak something or let something be known. It's not just a one-way interview. This is a conversation, and I think far too many times our artists, our creators, our minds and folks are just thinking that it's only one way, but it doesn't have to be. So this is your mic, this is your stage, lights, camera, action, whatever's on your mind and your heart. Definitely feel free to share. So let's talk, Lisa, for your songs and the music that you've recorded, whether we've heard it or not. What's a song that you think we should listen to, and just one that you want to share? If you were to say, hey, I want you to, someone meet you today and say, I heard you sing, you write music, and tell me a story. What's one of your songs you could tell me a story? One of your songs that you're proud of and that you would encourage folks to listen to of yours?
It's a hard question, right? Because your songs are a little bit like your babies, so it's like, how do you pick a favorite one? Are you allowed to pick a favorite one? No. So probably the song that I would want folks to listen to currently that are released, because that makes it a little bit easier for me if I bound that question a little.
There you go.
Because I only have a few released, which is I actually have a full album ready to be released at any point now, just kind of sitting on it. For no reason at all, probably out of fear. But I'll be honest, just to be
do it.
I'm type A, and so I want it to be right when I do it. So I keep watching everybody's album release. I'm like, okay, so that's what you need to do. Okay, and that's what I need. So that's really what's holding me up. I'm like, I have to do it perfectly. Anyway, so there's a song called Back the Way It Was, which is a piano ballad. It's just vocals and pianos, and it was probably one of the first songs that I recorded in studio. I did that under the production of Jeremy Stevens at Clearwave, but we actually went over to 5 Points and worked with Justin, because he has a Yamaha, right? A beautiful Grand in his studio. And I look back at that and think what inexperienced I was. It's my first time in a recording studio, and here I have the two of them in this booth that I can't even watch, trying to get this take right. But I think we got it in 2 takes, and I questioned Jeremy, which I know not to do now. I was like, really? You think you got it? And they were like, yes.
Don't you hate that, though?
I
You're there to work and go over and over it, and then just
no, but it's true that
nailed it.
Listen,
Perfect.
exactly. They do it, and they know, right? And I was like, now I know not to do that. But Sorry. But that song actually means a lot to me for a variety of reasons. You know, it came from a conversation that I had with a friend. I'm not even sure that friend knows about it. that came from that, so I'm not going to say their name. But it really hits at the heart of sort of the common experience, particularly as you have long relationships and marriages, and how difficult it is as you are evolving as a person and your partner's evolving as a person, and how you grow together and how easy it is to grow apart. And so I feel like that is the story of a lot of us in midlife who've had long relationships and really trying to figure out who are you in the midst of all of it. And so I think it captures a lot of the songs that I end up writing that mean a lot.
So in the midst of your lifestyle, in the midst of everything that's happening, who have you found Lisa is in this season? It could change, but after exploring all that, who is Lisa that you found through those steps? Yeah,
that's an excellent question. Thank you for asking that. I think obviously I'm somebody who is just emerging into somebody who loves to create, right? Loves to bring joy, similar to Dani, to everybody through music or through other ways, and to empower other people. One thing that I love coming off of a lot of gigs and getting to open mics and working with other younger musicians is really seeing them unlock this realization that it's never too late to learn. So one of my things, particularly being an artist that started this late, I started this 3 years ago. Even though I've been playing since I was like a baby, right? Actually performing, that happened 3 years ago. And so I really love to say it's never too late, because a lot of people will think this is a young person's game. Like if you're not 20, then you might as well walk away from it.
Right.
And that's not it. No, you can reinvent yourself. Like aging means different things. And I think that if you continue to create and produce across your lifespan, then you keep yourself young, you keep yourself vital, and you keep inspiring. And so one of my favorite artists in the area is in her 60s, and she always laments not having done this sooner. And I always tell her, no, you couldn't have, because these songs that I adore that you put out, you couldn't have written those. Right. You needed your 60 plus years of experience to put this out there and to be bold, because as women, we put ourselves in boxes, and in our generation, I think we were raised to be quiet and to be demure. And now I'm seeing all of us flourish and say, we're not going to be quiet anymore.
And if you're not putting out music in your 60s, then you're doing a disservice to those that are in their 60s that don't want to listen to music of folks in their 20s. They can't relate to any of it. They're like, I did that 40 years ago. I don't want to listen to that.
Absolutely.
So you have to.
Yeah. And I hate that people often limit themselves and say, I didn't learn piano, or I quit piano at 12, so I can't pick it up again. And there's no reason why you can, you can't learn something new. My father picked up saxophone at 60-something. Now at 80, he records YouTube videos.
Come on.
It helped him recover from COVID, right, to get the lung capacity back. And so really, it's really kind of encouraging everybody across the lifespan that creativity and learning and growth are part of your life story always.
Absolutely.
And we're here at the Gym for Creatives, the Maitland Conservatory. So no matter what age you are, you can learn whatever art, whatever expression, drums, piano, music mixing, production, podcasting, whatever art that you want to learn at any age, you can do that right here at the Maitland Conservatory. Dani, one of your songs that is out, that is available on streaming, that you want to share with folks and give us the story behind that and encourage folks to go and listen to and why they should listen to it.
So I have one original song, and it is called Drifted Away. It is not streaming currently. It is in process. Okay. But I wrote this song in 2020 during COVID. I was in the house, and I was like, dang, we can't go anywhere. What's going on? So I was just like, they had this little app that you could record music on, beats already there, everything, called Voicey. No longer in existence now. But I heard this catchy beat, and I was just like, you know what? What can I say about this? And at that time in my life, I was going through a rough patch in my marriage at the time. And Drifted Away is basically talking about how, I'm so deeply in love with this person, but like he's not giving me what I need. He's not, he's drifting away from me. Like I felt like we were there at one point, but you got to let me know, like, what can we do to fix it? Let me know. You know what I mean? And the love is just drifted. It's drifted away. So I wrote that, fast forward, reached out to the producer to the song, and I obtained the beat. he allowed me to have it. Yes, and it happened like this, and it started off with a hook, Drifted Away, and I wrote the lyrics to it, and then boom, it became a whole song. My very first song that I'm very proud of. Yes. By the way,
yeah,
this is the anniversary of Drifted Away. So happy anniversary!
Look at Ingrid with the perfect timing.
That's right. It's time to release it.
Yeah. So I've been performing it all over town. So check me out. Wherever I'm at, you're gonna hear Drifted Away.
Absolutely. Ingrid, I want to ask you the same question. Music that is released, music that you want to share with folks, that you encourage them to go listen to a song of yours, and why? Because, and I asked that question because how many times has someone tagged you in something on social media? Hey, listen to my song. Why? When someone's telling you to listen to their music or sending you music randomly for whatever reason, well, before I listen to it, why? Let me know why. You just want me to listen to it because you made it? Mm-hmm. Is it good? Is it bad? Why do you want me to listen to it? So a song of yours that folks can go out and stream or listen to, and you want to give them kind of a backstory of why they should listen to it.
I've got just one solo album out, Manna, which is about 10 years old, and then we have our Waters Felts project, jazz album out, and there's a couple of my originals on it. My favorite's always the newest thing that I'm writing, whatever I wrote yesterday or the day before. And currently in the process, I'm always curious about time and how time moves, and how I am a slow mover in life and not a very action-based person unless I'm up to something, then I can take the actions. But a lot of my titles have the word waiting in them. And currently I just came up with a bunch of lyrics that are really about how I sat midstream, and the song has no title yet. I sat midstream, and at one point I was kind of way up front with, like, ahead of the times with music and my beliefs and all these things. And as the stream continues down, I find myself on the other side. And I just stayed in the middle. But as life moves, you find yourself kind of in a slightly different position as you go. So that's the why, I think. I haven't titled the song yet, and I think it's because there's probably a few more that are coming alongside it. But it really is about relativity and how it's so different to be in one space and be the person that you are when you're there. And then life wakes you up every single day with this brand new set of circumstances, and then how you're in a completely different space right there. In fact, you were talking about learning new things and staying fresh. I can't even go out and swipe a card anymore or use my phone as we do now without learning every single day, learning a new thing. And mainly, it's a 20-something at the cash register saying, oh, no, you got to turn it sideways. Or, oh, no, that's for swiping. And I'm literally thinking, you, son, are keeping me alive and engaged.
Yeah, and you're making my checkout 20 minutes long.
I'm sitting there scrolling the signature, and our kids just walk. I don't even see them pay. They walk through and wipe their hand, and off they go. I'm like, can you do that for me? But no, we can't. We can't subvert ourselves to make them do everything. We need to stay in touch and stay equipped and be up to date with things, and that creates sharpness. If you got to switch sides, brushing your teeth, just do something new and different. Take a different route to work. Something new and different every day. And keep those neurons talking to each other as long as we can. Because, yes, in our 60s, 70s, pre-80s, we'll still be, visiting each other and I got a new song, Lisa.
Hey, 90s, 100s, keep it going.
I don't want to stop.
You never know. Come on. Yeah, absolutely. So, and so Lisa mentioned something that I think is we should also take note of, is that, your song that you mentioned came from a conversation. And the song that you mentioned that you're working on that has no title yet, do you find your songs are coming from your thoughts and ideas, or are they coming from conversations? Because I think
Yeah.
songs come from different places.
Yeah.
They come from the conversations or that light bulb that goes off where you say, "What did you just say?"
That's right.
If you don't love me by now, and you just
That's a good one.
that's a good one. I
Good
gotta
song.
write it. Or you have an epiphany at 2 a.m. and
Yes.
you're waking up like,
Oh my
where did these lyrics come from?
Yeah.
And
It is so
you're
in
like
the now.
texting in the
It's
dark.
so much more in the now than
Yeah.
I am. It's like that moment that happens, and when it's typically an overheard phrase, or usually I mishear something and think that makes a good lyric. I know you didn't say that, but this is what I wrote down.
Yeah.
And I
I
just
do that too.
yeah, it's like,
Absolutely, all the time.
it's like
All the time.
notes. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
sorry you were.
Yeah. Yeah.
Continue. And it's that, and then and I also feel like a little bit. Yeah, we're spies a little bit, and the beat or the rhythm or the kind of the backdrop that I will already hear when I'm writing lyrics is usually from my environment, and it's usually from nature, or I may be sitting on my porch and I hear trucks passing on the parkway, and I'll hear something with a little bit of zh, 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 and all of a sudden I'm sitting there and I'm in step with it, and we're so receptive. We're like antenna all over us, just picking up everything that's going on around us in this great, beautiful world that God made, going, I'm listening in. I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of everything. What part of this is me? What part of me is today? And then the words are always jumbling around in there. You're just picking things that kind of work together. What I will do is I'll let that beat play, whether it is just trucks going down the road or crickets or kid next door playing basketball. Just a little steady little rhythm, and then I'll write down the first phrase and put it away. And I'll go back to my show or yelling at my kids, making food, and when I get back, the next phrase has already fallen into place. And then we just type that in. We just keep typing it into notes. Next thing, you've got 2 pages. Next thing you know, you've got a full song put together. So, and the melody comes with the words for me.
You know what's another cool exercise you could do? When you wake up early in the morning, you hear the birds outside chirping. Try to find the rhythm. And listen to, in me, I try to figure out what they're saying, or you try to put voices to it. But they have some rhythms that, and you just listen to them, and it's pretty interesting. So
Yeah.
that's, kind of a challenge you could do, or if you're just as bored as I am, and you're like, what are they talking about? Are they talking about where they're going next? Are they talking about a fight last night?
I know.
What's the conversation going on? Because you can hear one and it's really going,
Yeah. Who's chattering?
Yeah, there is sometimes one loud one standing out.
Yeah.
Like, is he boss?
Yeah.
Like,
Right. It's true.
Or in bird
or-
language,
yeah.
does that mean love?
repeat.
Oh, it could
It
be.
sounds angry,
Right.
but does that mean love? You just
Right.
never know,
Yeah.
Lions roaring could
We
be
don't-
whispering. We don't know.
Yeah.
Danny, if you could
Yeah.
change, there's a lot of things about the industry, a lot of things that have come in your experiences and the places you've been, and as you're learning different things. If it's all said and done, or if they come to you and say, "Hey, Danny, we want to know from you and your purview, what would you change about the music industry?" What is a couple things that you could change or that you would want to change?
A couple of things that I would change is the cliques. In the music industry, is very cliquish. People have their favorites, and they tend to flock to this spot or flock here, or, you know what I mean? And it creates a divide. It's actually caused a few people to, kind of be discouraged. And so we don't want to discourage anybody from being a creative. What I would do personally, I stay busy quite a bit, and there are some places that I repeatedly go. Like if my friends call me and they say, "Hey, we're going to listen to some live music here. Let's go here." Well, we went there so many times. Let's try something different.
Yeah.
How about that? You know what I mean? How about me, when I do have some downtime, taking some time to go some places I've never been. Support some of these local artists I've never seen before. That's how I can change things. I don't want to be a part of the clique. I don't want to always go to this venue. I want to see her sing. I want to see her sing. If I've never actually took the time to do that when I do have time, then I'm a part of the problem. So let's change it within me.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Lisa, same question for you. With your experience and the things that the obstacles that you've overcome, the things where you look and you go, you know, that's just not right, you know, or why are we still having this problem, or it shouldn't really be that hard to fix this. What are some of the things or one thing that you would want to change about the industry?
I mean, it comes along with Dani's answer. I think it is the notion, ideal, and practice of inclusion, where we try and figure out not only how do we attract bigger audiences or more engaged audiences, but how do we make it so that new artists feel comfortable and welcome as they come into our circle and they feel supported. So it's the individual actions of, I'm just going to commit to seeing a new local artist. I'm going to figure out how to make sure that people know individuals are playing. So a couple of other musicians and I started the Rocket City Underground publication this past year, trying to really focus on local music, and really looking at the leverage points of what might be keeping people from accessing their local artists in this region. Understanding that our algorithms are completely doctored and that we are not seeing, like I see when Ingrid and Dani play 5 days after they play, I'm like, that must have been nice. Yeah, I would have gone to the hockey game. That'd be great.
Exactly.
I literally saw that 2 days
I
after.
saw
they
you
played.
when you were coming up to it.
And so, but that's not like relying on social media. I think has allowed from some really great musicians to like hit it big, right? The Chaperones of the Lamont Landers is a big example locally, right?
Yeah.
So proud, and in that way, it's never been easier to find an audience globally for a singer-songwriter, for somebody creating original content. But it's also this reliance upon social media that we know isn't being inclusive in and of itself, right? And so we're not getting to hear some of the quieter people. This is where age actually works against you, because a lot of our older musicians, like I'm terrible about uploading content in a regular rhythm, you know, and I know what I'm supposed to do, know exactly what I'm supposed to do, but I don't do it. But essentially, yeah, I just want to see our tables get bigger, more diverse, more supportive of genres, of different cultures across the board, and really reflect the true diversity and talent that is here in this North Alabama region.
I'll say this before we go to our first break. Sometimes, so there are cliques that exist, and I think I offer two ways of looking at it. One, think about it like your family. You know, there may be a stranger that knocks on the door and you go, hey, yeah, come on in. We're just about to have dinner. And yeah, take your shoes off. I don't know who you are, where you come from or anything, but yeah, come on in. And then there's the ones where it's, well, what's your name? Where are you from? Hold on. You know, who sent you? How did you know, to knock on my door? Did you call ahead? And, maybe not tonight you can come to dinner, but, let me get to know you a little bit. And maybe next week we can work on you coming and figuring this out. So there's that aspect. There's also sometimes that folks have a guard up, whether it's having trust issues or whether it's being burned or whether it's, I can't trust, these are the people I know, this is my tribe, and this is,
In the back over there with us?
I think you got it. Well, and to that point, may I? I don't want to interrupt. Okay. One of my mentors on the scene, he would always say that being a performing musician and being a singer-songwriter is this constant battle between ego and insecurity. Mm-hmm. And I think our insecurities actually keep us from being as inclusive as we might be, because we see somebody who we think is better, somebody who we think is more talented, who's prettier, who's all of these things, when you realize. But at the end of the day, and this comes off of something that clearly you were listening to us in the back room, we're talking about, nobody can be Ingrid, right? In all of her beautiful facets, in all of the ways that she is uniquely her. Nobody else can be Dani. And I'm not coming to see Ingrid because I want to see, I don't know, I'm trying to pick a good artist that you admire, right? Some popular artist. I'm seeing Ingrid because I want Ingrid. I'm seeing Dani because I want Dani. I want to hear everything, like the humanness of her, right? If it's a perfect sound, it's like if you use too much auto-tune in a recording studio, you realize, I don't want to listen to this. Like, that's not what people want to hear. If every beat is perfect, you realize, oh, that's not real. Like, we're here to listen to these live recordings that are almost like a collage of a moment in time, right? Of music that is imperfect and is generated by humans for humans. And I think it's a beautiful thing.
And it's some people, because you do have some people that think auto-tune is great, and if there's no auto-tune on it, they're going, well, what's wrong with this? I don't hear the robot in there, and it's like, that's what they want. They want artificial, stuff. There's people that it's preference. But I go back and I'll close with this before we go to our break, is that it's the aspect of you have to have both. There's a balance. So you have to have the clicks in order for someone to go, you know what, this isn't right. I'm going to start making an inclusive spot because I'm tired of the clicks. But without someone doing that, that person isn't invested or doesn't even think about making that happen. It's the whole, if every day was a sunny day, what's a sunny day? One of them has to exist for the other. And then there's the whole thing of like sports. If you're doing a pick 5 or 3-on-3 and you're going, who do I need? Okay, you. I've been playing basketball all my life. I don't know you. I don't know if you have. I know I can count on these 3 or these 4. And then you do it that way. But it's also, it goes back to, like Dani was saying, when we don't see those different, everyone's going to the same spot to hear music or performers, and then you say, you know what, I'm going to book diverse artists in places like St. Stephen's Music that is booking artists from EDM to country to pop to rock and roll. You don't know who you're going to see, but you're going to see some great music. And they're opening the doors in those stages in places, plenty of places like that. But that's why we have to make it our own to actually, for the things that we see that we want to change and the clicks and things like that, then we become the change and we start to build our own Avengers and things like that. Exactly. So we're going to take a quick break and allow everyone to, reset if they need to. We want to definitely thank some of our sponsors. Big thanks to Ear Vision Studios is on our sound this evening, this afternoon, this morning, depending on where in the world you're watching this. So big shout out to Ear Vision Studios and Mike Villano. Also your sound design, your sound production, anything when it comes to sound, make sure you holler at Ear Vision Studios. And also on St. Stephen's Music, I just mentioned them. They're a small venue devoted to introducing Huntsville to new and interesting music, making you feel at home. And it really does feel like a living room in there.
It does.
I just thought about it.
It does.
It feels like a nice living room in there. So visit ststevensmusic.com. That's ststevensmusic.com. And also T. Shepherd's Discount Music, serving Huntsville's music community since 1974.
Thank you, Tony.
74?
How did he do
74 was a great year. And you can visit them on Facebook at T. Shepherds. Also, Artemis Music Productions to simplify your music needs when you're looking to book a show or management or publishing or you have questions, any of your music needs, you can talk to the folks at artemisproductions.com. And of course, the Maitland Conservatory, the gym for creatives, the maitlandconservatory.org. All right, we're going to take 5 and then we'll be right back. This episode is made possible from neighbors like you and support from the Maitland Conservatory, one of the top 3 rated music schools in Huntsville, Alabama. This gym for creatives teaches both traditional and non-traditional music programs, music tech, multimedia, classes available for all ages and levels of experience. More information at themaitlandconservatory.org. And support from Ear Vision Studios. Their goal is to create audio and visual experiences that not only look great and sound great, but also deliver real value to your audience. Let Ear Vision Studios bring your vision to life with sight and sound today at earvisionstudios.solutions. We're back on Mic Check Huntsville. I'm here with Ingrid Marie, Dani Caines, Lisa Joy. I'm T. Mill. We're here at the Maitland Conservatory, the listening room. This is the gym for creatives. So for all of your event needs, rehearsals, or anything audio related, creativity, this is the gym for you. Visit themaitlandconservatory.org. Want to talk about your performance day, ladies. We're going to start with Ingrid and talk about how do you start your day? Being a mother, being a woman, being in Huntsville, all of the things that you're up against, all of the things that you have ahead of you. Mm-hmm. I know that sounds like a lot. Uh-huh. And then you have to entertain folks and sing on key and remember your notes and your song lyrics and things like that.
Yes.
So take us through just waking up on a day of performance and what that day-to-day looks like.
Yeah, you got to have those last few things dialed in, like on the regular. So if that becomes your actual routine, the showing up and the being present for the songs and the people that are in the room, like
Being present.
yes, to the crowd. Like, what day did my group that showed up, the audience, what day did they have? Our guests, if it's a restaurant, are they jovial? Is somebody right near you talking about maybe a loss, something a little more hushed? And so I tend to wake up early. And I do, like you and I had talked a few minutes before about going outside. I walk straight out to my porch. I get up, I use the restroom, go back and pull some of my covers too. Just want it to feel a little bit official or formal that I started the day. Now I'm going to a cozy place. That's how I talk myself out of the bed. I'm still reliving a little bit of the unresolved dream that I had, who I talked to. I'm trying to sort if it was real or, part just happened in my head. And then I'm just sitting on my porch for as long as I possibly can hold on to before I start the day, before I check messages, before anyone else sets the tone for me. I have decisions to make. And really, pointedly, that starts the night before. Setting yourself up, going, in the morning, I plan to think these things in order to start the day.
Intentional.
And at that point, exactly, then when the things start flying at you, you got to get on the parkway. And in my case, I do house cleanings. Oh, I will mention, I absolutely love a before and after. I love to go in and turn around. I work for Airbnbs right now. So I'm turning over a space that somebody hopefully really, really enjoyed. And however they leave it is fine. Some are crazy, and some look like somebody never touched anything. But we give them all the same respect because the new guest that's coming in wants to have, it might be their one and only trip in their entire life. We don't know what day there is. So I like to go in and just tighten everything up, make it really beautiful and crisp and clean so that when you walk in, you have the fresh scents of, we use oil base, like an orange oil flavored thieves oil. And then we just tighten everything up and make it look so cute, cute, cute. Mm-hmm. And I do a little exit video for our staff to look over the work and make sure that it looks like I said it looked. And then when somebody comes in, then I know that they are set up to have their best stay. And I love about these particular units is that they're minimalist. So everything is always in its little place. It's not like my house. Everything has very nice and arranged the way that we like. We always keep it like that. I work.
Dream, right?
I will do anything from cleaning to we do door dashing as a family. All three of us are driving and delivering food. That's also like a wild, wild world for anyone who's ever done food delivery or any type of service industry. My youngest and I worked in restaurants for a time, and again, service of people. And then what I spend my entire day dreaming about is marinating something for dinner. And I think the entire day, I hope I have this particular sauce or this marinade or what's missing from my spices. I've got to get all that together tonight.
That's what you think about on stage.
I'm constantly thinking about the food that I want to make. My rich life, since you asked. My rich life.
Wait. Best marinade.
Okay. Well, I don't know this is the best. However, I have been told that I tend to use a lot of more soy, ginger, and garlic in most of what I cook.
I love it.
And I'm always trying to clean out all the stuff we did last night after work. Want to clean all that out and be, healthy and holistic to as much as our capacity is. So I'm thinking about the food all day long. If I get the chance, and if we have a break, anytime between 4 and 7, then I'm cooking something, and I'm just imagining what it's going to taste like, and savory, always savory. I don't bake, don't do desserts, don't do sweets. I love the people who do for doing that, but I'm gonna set my family up if we get that minute, and then typically we would go to show up for our gig. And at that time, I'm pulling up. Usually my hair is crazy and I'm fixing something in the car. I may be on the parkway, I'm the one that you're sitting next to going, don't put your dang mascara and Visine on while you're sitting at a light. And it's a long-standing habit. I've been doing that forever.
Professional.
And then we get to the show, and there is an actual line before you walk in that where you have to make things stop. And for me, it's really conscious. Where I watch other artists, I don't really know what that process is, which is why I am so curious as to what all of our days do look like. But by the point I get there, I want to forget all the people that I've been serving until that point. And then I want to get fully straight into who am I? Why did I come here? Why wouldn't I have been fine just writing stuff for myself and putting it on my phone? Why did I come tonight? And I always look for a purpose and go, there's somebody here I'm supposed to meet. There's some reason why I'm here. There's a song that I wrote or have covered that is going to touch somebody and it's going to bring them out of themselves. And then when it's all over at the end of the night, then I'm usually wired till about 1 or 2 in the morning. Usually,
Legit.
only the nights that I play. I can easily go to sleep by 8. But the nights that I play, I have so much hyper energy, and I'm wired from a chat I had with a guest, or the time that I spent with our servers afterward, or maybe somewhere that I stopped off on the way home. And yeah, I'll be sitting on my porch lit up. I may go online or call somebody during that time. They're like, do you know what time it is? I do not. Never, ever.
Dani, try to top that.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But your day, you wake up, you got a performance, take us through your routine.
So my days don't always look perfect. They consist of me having a full-time job, which it's great because I work from home. So I don't have the stress of driving and trying to be, one place at a certain time. So that's good. So I work my job. I have 2 boys, and they need to eat.
They do.
They need to eat.
They really do.
So you think about marinades too.
So I'm thinking about definitely some
All
marinades.
day.
Definitely some marinades.
Can Ingrid bring it over?
Yes, any day. Crock pot is my best friend.
Set it
for
and
sure.
forget it.
Yes,
Come on.
good pot roast.
Yeah.
Mississippi pot roast.
Ooh,
honey.
yeah, that's so
Simple as
good.
that. Throw it in there, put the rice in the rice cooker, they're done. I'm thinking about them.
Just put your address right in here.
Yeah, so definitely making sure the kids have food. It may be a day that I'm feeling okay. Some days I don't. Some days, like recently, the pollen, it gets to me. You know what I mean? It's really bad. So I'm like, okay, I'm trying to dry out the kinks in my voice to make sure I'm prepared. Knowing my music, I decompress by silence. I don't want to be stressed at all. Sometimes I don't have the energy that people see on the stage when I wake up because I have to do so much to prepare. Sometimes my outfit does not come to mind until the day of, and I'm like, what am I going to wear? And I go in my little boutique closet of 50,000 clothes, and I'm like, what do I feel like today? And it's going to be something sparkly, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about that, like this, that. And then the tea. I have to have a tea, a throat coat to make sure, though, that, I can project these things. But when I don't have the energy, for some reason, when I get to that stage, it all comes. I don't know. Sometimes I'm tired. I'm like, I really don't feel my best, and I want to do my best. But then I sit in my car. When I'm driving to the gig, I don't listen to music at all because the music that I have in my head is what I'm getting ready to sing. But I want silence in the car because it brings me peace. It brings me serenity. So I just want to focus on that. I pray. That's the key. I pray. And I thank God for the gift that He has given me to give to others. It's always it's a must. I have to pray or it won't go right. And if I don't have the energy to get to the stage, once I'm there, it just pops. I don't know where it comes from. It's like a ball of fire when I'm ready to go, they call me up there and say, Dani Sings or Dani Caines, whatever the case is, I'm there. And it just comes out.
Yeah.
It comes out.
Well, you're prepared, at that point. You're conditioned. You've done those things that that get you ready or ready to be ready. Yeah. And,
you prepared your whole life.
Yeah.
And then you're calling, there's a calling out to your calling. Dani sings, and then you arrive to your calling.
Yeah. It's either that or you're thinking about, did I turn the crock pot off?
Lisa. Turn the crock pot off.
Lisa, what's your routine and what's your day-to-day and some of the things you're doing on the day that you're performing?
Absolutely. I think both of my dear friends over here, we all wear multiple hats during the day, and so that day starts very early. For me, 5:30 or 6 to get lunches ready and get the kids off to school and have that moment. If I were, more disciplined, I'd wake up at 5:15 just to have that little bit of moment or calm to myself. But I'm, generally not. And once the kids are hopefully at school, which it seems like they never are. Right? Because either school's not there or, they're sick. There's always that. And then my workday starts, but I usually have to get some sort of workout in. And that's kind of like my way I manage my mental health, but also stay conditioned because I think...
Like what? Workout?
So I do a lot on Peloton and do strength and do walks and do runs, things like that.
Do you feel the difference when you do and don't?
Oh, absolutely. Emotionally, physically. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that performing like this, singing, playing... going to gigs, it's such a physical thing.
I listen to so athletic.
I mean, I listen to your day, Ingrid. I'm like, oh my gosh, how many calories have you burned by the time you hit
Right.
dinner? It's so
That's
physical. Exactly. Right?
There you go.
Because we're hauling our PA systems, right? We're hauling our keyboards are so heavy, right?
And
or
the speakers
amps.
up in the
Those
shoulders.
speakers, exactly. And there's so
Did I forget
much.
a chord?
Exactly. And then the actual singing, you have to have your breath under you. Otherwise, you're not going to hit that pitch and you're not going to be able to give that energy. And
That's a good point. The workout is definitely what I need to incorporate.
So physical. And so you, getting that, conditioning your body in that way. And then really on performance days, it's thinking about what am I fueling my body with? It's not the time to fast so that I can fit into that cute outfit.
Yeah.
Because chances are, by the time you hit, say you have a 6 o'clock gig, you're not going to eat dinner before that gig.
No,
so you've got to make your 2 meals before then count and your snacks. Because you're not going to eat after 4, right? Because you don't want to it's terrible if you decide you're going to eat in the middle of the gig. And we've all been there where that's
I don't
eat
until after.
You can't do it, right? Yeah. And then what's open after is chicken fingers, wings, and fries, right? There's nobody gets a salad. Right, exactly. And all I want is
Bring
a salad with protein.
With you. Just, when you get done, just waiting on you all night.
Exactly. And so it is let's think about the protein. Let's think about balancing all that. So that's all the background thought. And then you're feeding a family, right? And you're okay, and figuring out where the kid's going to go. Are they taken care of? Because I know, Ingrid, you talked about this threshold that you hit when you pull up to a gig. And in ideal nights, you've taken care of all of that and you can have that. But most nights are not ideal, or you get busy and you have all these gigs. And so it is not uncommon. If you see me vamping and kind of losing my train of thought while I'm chatting or riffing, it's probably because I got a text from my child saying, hey, can I buy this thing on Minecraft? And by the way, can you order some food to DoorDash?
So what about this? Do you ever get, does either of you ever get anxiety? Because I recently had anxiety doing a Havoc game. I had this just passed on Thursday. I have a game, and although it's just the anthem, everybody's like, "Oh, you just singing one song." It's a lot to build up. It's the song.
It's so exposed.
It's a hard song to sing. You have to use a lot of breath.
You have a lot of people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people staring at me, and it's a huge place, and then it happens. It's all rise, and I'm just like. Rise, they're rising.
Yeah. All of a sudden, what's the first word? What's the first word?
And then I have to take a deep breath. You know what I mean? I'm taking it. Right. Let me not forget this song that I've sang for 20 million years. And then let it come out and let me belt the right notes because this pollen has me so jacked up. And so I had anxiety. Do you ever get anxiety?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I get anxiety for no reason. I get anxiety at the cash register. I get anxiety finding a parking spot.
doggone tap
Try to
to
get
pay.
through a door. I can't get in or out of a door. I need like the whole look so that I can walk up to a door and stand there and like, what happens now? It is so ridiculous. Everything, yes, everything makes me anxious.
Yeah. Well, but that pre-show anxiety, like, so we've done all this prep, everything can be perfect, and you still get this moment. And I think sometimes those butterflies are essential, right?
Yeah.
And so in that moment, I try to remember, why am I doing this? And I had a mentor in sort of the singer-songwriter field say, remember why you're doing it. You're not doing it actually for an audience. You're not doing it for a listener. You're doing it for yourself, like because you have to, right? It's in you, and you remember that. And the other piece I try to remember, and Ingrid, you alluded to this, is we're also doing this because people paid good money for that ticket, right?
Yeah.
Right.
People pay good money to go to these restaurants, these wine bars where they see
And
us.
we don't know if that's their one chance out of their house.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I want to
Like
make
you said,
this.
you have no idea why they're there that night.
Right.
You know, they
Yeah.
could be-
Absolutely.
They're there for a reason, you know. And so
And
we wanna
you
make
are.
sure-
It's
yeah.
it's a gift. It's a privilege to be able to share that,
Yes.
and it's a responsibility, and it's a teamwork with the servers to say,
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
make this a perfect special
love
night
them.
to the best of my ability that I
Yeah.
have, and try and pull that out, even if I leave it all out there, and I
Right.
have to crawl to my car, and ask for help loading it.
happens.
It does happen. But that's like sort of grounding yourself and saying, why am I doing this? Like, and as you
Yeah.
said, your moment of prayer probably is that answer, right?
It
Of,
is. It
this is
is.
why I'm here. And then, oh, right now I do remember it's say, right?
Right. Can you
What's the
see
third
it?
word?
Well, I definitely want to thank you, ladies, for this conversation, for the vulnerability, the honesty, the questions, and the just the camaraderie of gleaming off of each other and learning from one another, and hoping that you learned something about yourself today that you didn't know before. You go home and you reflect and you go, you know what? Yeah, that's that. I need to implement that, or I'm glad I, told that story. I want to talk about what's next for you and talk about what your social media is, and we'll go around the table. Just tell us what's next and where people can find you. I'm gonna start with Ingrid.
Social media. I'm Ingrid Marie Music on all the platforms, and we were actually talking about what's next. I have put a lot of time into sorting how to get something that you've written into film or TV. And I think everyone here at this table really, really deserves to have something with a scene, a couple meeting, anniversary, a breakup, a death. Everything that we write is for these scenes. It's from those scenes in our life. And I think it would be really magical to see something play and have your work and your music coming up in that background. I think that would be a mic drop right there, to listen to your own song speaking to the lives of, in that case, fictional characters. But in that same sense, it's all based on humans that we know and all the different things that we go through in the full circle of life. And then the other thing is, I'm going to grab these two. I'm going to start with these two. I'm going to drag them to my wardrobe of many, many fabrics. And we're going to just hot glue some stuff together. We're going to cut it up the side, and we're going to put a belt on it. We're going to fix some people up with some, that is my secret kind of what I really want to spend some time with. I want y'all to come over, and we're going to sort through some fabrics and pick stuff, and
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna make some stuff.
That is so exciting.
And he's gonna bring the pot roast.
Yeah.
All right.
Bring
I
pot
baked
roast.
some
you
cookies and bread. I
bring
got
that
you.
whole crock pot on over.
Yeah.
Dani, what's next for you, and where can people find? And Ingrid, where can people find you? What's your social media?
Social media is Ingrid Marie Music. On mostly, I do Insta for. You can actually, they'll let you put your covers of other things. Facebook will also they'll can your audio when you do covers some of the time. So Insta's safer for that. And then I have YouTube, Ingrid Marie Music. And we play for the Church Street Wine Shops venues. We play around town at Stovehouse, St. Stephen's. I have a few Watersfelt's project reboot, the revisit of our sextet or in a quintet. We'll be playing at the Note. In April, we'll be playing at Tangled Strings. And we have just different concerts coming up for that. So it's really nice to get back to some of that jazz music, that is a really nice gig. When I first started with them, that all I would do is get my nails and my heels on and show up, and I wasn't loading any gear.
So we're going to have to get back to
Until
those.
I started the other,
So real quick, Dani, where can people find you at, and what's coming up next for you?
So on social media, I'm Dani, that's Dani, Sings with an S, on all platforms. What's next for me? My goal is to have more original music this year. I'm focusing on that. I would like
Not
to.
your goal, you will have.
I will have it.
There you go.
I will have it. I've actually written about 4 or 5 songs within the past month or so. So it's ready. I just need some boom behind it.
It's in the crock pot.
Yes,
There we
yes.
go.
So I talked about Drifted
cooking.
Away,
Yeah.
and that was a personal experience. I've got more to say.
More to say.
Let's go.
For sure. Lisa, look into that camera and tell us where to follow you and where can people find you.
Excellent.
Lisa Joy.
You can find me at Lisa's Joy on Facebook and Instagram, but you can call me Lisa Joy. It's fine. And
I'm gonna get it right, Lisa's
it's
Joy.
totally no worries. and at Nare Jayu. So I have music out on streaming under NARAEJAYU. And I'll, I think links will probably hopefully go in the comments of this video when it goes live. But what's up next is I have been working a lot with a band in Birmingham, and so we're actually going to be playing up here as well as gigs all around at places that Ingrid has mentioned.
You're bringing Damn It Doll here?
Yeah, bringing Damn It. So you can also follow Damn It Doll, which I play keys and background vocals for a mostly originals band down there. And then I'm actually assembling my own band, little Avengers. They're not little, they're great musicians. And so that'll premiere with my album release, which will happen this year. And so hopefully everybody, you are absolutely invited to come see that. But I want to turn the tables on you and say, what is next for you, sir?
Well, we'll have to wait on that one because I think we are running out of time, and I'm not even really trying to get out of it. Our producers are really telling me. But you can follow me at tmill205 on all of your favorite social media sites, platforms. Paradox East on YouTube, In Tune with T-Mill on Facebook and YouTube, where you'll find those. I will leave that answer in the comment section because we also got to ask you about your name in the comment section. So maybe we'll record a video real quick explaining some of that later on to put in the behind the scenes. But thank you everyone for being here today. Thank you ladies for your story, for your journey. We want to thank everyone involved here. Thank you Ear Vision Studios. Thank you John. Thank you Maitland Conservatory. And we'll see y'all on the next episode of Mic Check Huntsville.